So we start with Chelsea. We start with Chelsea.
We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're starting with Chelsea.
As well.
I mean, look, Chelsea have gone from being one win away from going top 4 months ago to now sitting in sixth, sinking like the Titanic, not being able to beat at home Ipswich Town, going 2-0 down. And these stats have come out today. I don't know if you all have seen them. Chelsea have missed the most amount of big chances in the league of 73. They have the second worst shot conversion rate in the Premier League, only 7.7% conversion. Only Leicester City's has been worse so far this campaign. There's a lot of people calling for Enzo Maresca to lose his job. But the question I'm going to throw out first of all is, how do we explain the wastefulness of Chelsea's attack?
The players aren't
finishing. I don't get how can you put that stat on there? Like, the stat is true. Like obviously the stat's true. How are you putting the stat
why you put the stat up there?
No. Let me just How can you put that stat up knowing it's true and then putting the 50-year-old bald man on there? How does that make any sense? Why is Cole Palmer's face not on there, or Nicholas Jackson? At least some.
Hang on. You're cooking awful food. I didn't.
No,
they're screenshots of a tweet. I didn't make the tweet.
No. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying whoever.
You said you. You said you.
I meant.
Who, me or you? Who's me?
You.
Who's you? You're not seen Rush Hour, have you? You don't get it.
The person who put the tweet out. Why is my manager on there? That's not a manager issue. That's a player issue.
Okay.
Why is Maresca's face on there? What that tells you is that Maresca's cooking up wins and certain players aren't finishing their dinner. Why is his face there? Hey, I am. If any Chelsea fan truly believes that sacking Maresca is solving the problem, you're stupid. And again, and I say it with chest. 95% of football fans are stupid. 98% of Chelsea fans are stupid. I don't include the Terrace viewers in that because you're a bit intelligent if you watch us. But apart from them, the rest of you, dumb.
Why other than Terrace viewers?
If you're not watching the Terrace, you can watch other things. If you're not also watching the Terrace, then you're part of the 95%. You got to be watching us as well. Yeah, I don't get why my manager's face is on there, but this has been an issue at Chelsea for so many years, where we create so many chances and we just don't win the game. Because I didn't get to watch the whole game because I was in Cambridge playing my own match. Got back home, watched the highlights. I'm thinking, how am I not 5-0 up before they even score a goal? Honestly, it could have been 5-0 in half an hour, but somehow I'm losing. I don't get it. But people want to go at the manager. I genuinely believe this. I believe part of the problem is having stinky goalkeepers. It's not serious. When they're in training, putting it top corner, they know it's Robert Sanchez. So, of course, they're going to finish loads of chances in training. But when it comes up to when there's a Palmer in goal, for some reason, they can't do anything. That's part of the problem. We need better goalkeepers. But also, these players need to fix up and start finishing their chances. Because, again, game plan-wise, and I said it last year with Poch, I probably said the same thing under Graham Potter sometimes as well. These managers are actually coaching wins. These players are not finishing off what the coach has put in front of them. And that's a player issue. That's not a manager issue. So don't look at the manager, look at the people not finishing their chances. The manager can only do so much.
Why do you I know you've said that some of them are dumb. Let's put those people aside. You know, they're the people that Ricky Gervais called out and said that before having another referendum in England, you know, to decide a really important element of our country, take the labels off of bleach that say do not drink for 2 years, then have a referendum, because you might clear out some of the population a bit. So let's remove all those dumb people, right? Big up Ricky Gervais. There are still a lot of people today that are talking about players being played out of position, the slow nature of the play. He's trying to be Pep, and this is damaging the confidence. As an example, there's tactical issues. The confidence is being damaged, and therefore your attackers, like your Sanchos, your Netos, Palmer now have been affected. What's your response to that?
again, in spite of, you can think our manager has made 5,000 mistakes this season, and yet in spite of all of that, we should still have more points than we currently do. That I don't think anyone can sit here and argue that. That Ipswich game yesterday is a prime example of 3 points that we should have had that we just don't, and it's not in the league table. I know every team has those games, but Chelsea, I can name at least 4 or 5 games this season. I could probably do the same last season. I could do probably the same the season before, where it's just we're just not finishing the chances, and it's not as simple as let's go sign a really big striker for 100 mil because that will solve all our problems. We did that before and it didn't work. All right, so don't do that. But
when you say don't do that, I know it didn't work. You signed Lukaku, but that doesn't mean if you signed Osimhen for 70, 80 million pounds, you wouldn't improve.
No, we'd probably improve. But if I was as a Chelsea fan, the way I look at it is I would sign probably 2 strikers instead of 1 and edge my bets on 2 of them. Hence why I like the Liam Delap thing, because it's only 35 mil or 30 mil, however much it is. Because I'm of the opinion if you sign 2 of them and then you see who actually can win out. That's what I would. That's what I would.
The real thing is Delap will be your number 2 striker, and there'll be a main striker, and that's fine. That works. And then cool. Jackson would be just Jackson. Cool.
However it works out. But I'm of the opinion you should probably sign 2 strikers because you need to just edge your bets at this point. Because clearly the person who's signing Chelsea strikers doesn't know what they're doing. I don't know whoever has that role, but they don't know what they're doing.
So the person signing the goalie doesn't know what they're doing. The person signing the strikers doesn't know what they're doing in terms of talent ID. Centre backs, but you got
the second back, but you got the second best squad in the league.
I was told
that's what you Chelsea fan said, David. That's what you Chelsea fan said, David.
Terry, don't tar me with that brush.
No, you have to. They're part of you.
I know they're a part of me, but you've got to at least say, David, to be fair, you said this, you didn't get on this.
Why does he have to say that?
Because it's true. And when you were all saying,
nobody cares about the truth, bro.
I can see what all of you were doing. I'm not stupid. This is why I've got a good degree. Yeah, I could see what all of you are doing. You are building us up. So just in case there was a bit that it didn't work out, you could tear us down as soon as.
Yeah, but you gave us reason to, David. Like we David, we gave you all the chances to back out and in pre-season, but no, you like ignored us. You were like, no, second best squad in the league, new manager.
Didn't work. I'm not saying what you did didn't work.
Okay, yeah. Our plan was triggered by you guys. That's what I'm saying.
I'm annoyed at my own fan base for not realizing what everyone was doing to them, gassing up, talking about title race. None of us wanted that. We weren't even near it.
Manager didn't want it.
And he was right to say it. He was right to say it because you don't want to shove it on top of your whole squad, being like, oh, suddenly now we've got to win a title because title race means. We want to win that title.
David, your fan base forced us on this panel to be the bad guys. They forced us. They forced our hand. We didn't want this responsibility.
And we wanted
exactly. Definitely a big call. It's like, Chelsea can win the league this year.
We were quite happy
he was on the bandwagon fully.
Yeah, I think most rival fans were quite happy to go, you know what? Chelsea got a squad that can challenge for the top 4, finish Champions League, build from there. And I'm sitting there in August on shows with Chelsea fans going, look at the pre-season squad. We've got a better squad than you. We've got a better squad than Arsenal. I'm going, whoa, we're fighting now. If we're throwing haymakers, I'm throwing back. And I only need to wait till January for your arse to fall out. Your manager to shit himself. Your players to shit themselves at every possible opportunity. And we're back where we are.
I got attacked on this panel for all my criticism for Chelsea. It's like I wasn't allowed to criticize them because I was an Arsenal fan. I was just stating what I believe based on what's in front of me.
If you criticised anything about Chelsea in the months of October, November, or December, the Avengers swarmed on you on a stream. A link would be sent out, and 4 of them would join on stream, and they go, "How can you say this about us?"
This guy will pop up every time you mention a Chelsea player. They just turn up
like little meerkats in the distance.
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrendous.
So now, David, I'm sorry. You'd say,
you know what? I don't think Chelsea could win this title. All of a sudden, 3 of them join stream. Why can we not win the title? Look at the underlying numbers. Look at the stats. Look at Cole Palmer. Look at this. Look at that. Then you go,
best midfield in the league talk.
No, but they do all that. They built themselves up, and you go, so you're going to win the title? No, we're not ready yet.
Like, hey, David, this could have gone very different. We could be on this panel bigging up Chelsea for following through with what we expected of them, challenging of the top 6. But no, you lot ignored all that and just said, no, second best squad in the league.
You lot
potentially in the title race. Yeah, like, so it's what you have to deal with now. And let's be honest, have
Chelsea don't have a good squad though. Like, I'm very confused.
Have they signed a decent attacker in the last 5 years outside Cole Palmer? If so, name me him, please.
Nicholas Jackson is decent.
Pedro Neto is decent. He's just.
But Will, I wanted to ask you that. Will, let me ask Will a question. Let me ask Will a question here. You said we're acting like they don't have a good squad. What are you putting them currently being 6th and potentially dropping down as low as 7th or 8th? What is that down to, considering how good they were in the first half of the season? Because there has been a dramatic fall off in terms of points being won, goals scored, performances, individual players. If the squad is still, how you said it, a very good squad, is it just that everybody else is better than them and it's leveled out and you feel like the criticism is harsh? Or is it managerial, tactical? Like, what do you put that down to, bro?
I put it down to the board members, whoever's in charge of making signings, because we all know what Chelsea's weaknesses were, right? We all knew that their defense was shaky, their goalkeeper was shaky, and we knew that in their attack, aside from Cole Palmer, they don't really have anybody that's clinical. They have a bunch of creators, but they don't really have people that can finish the chances that they're making. So for me, I think the January window, right? I thought that Chelsea were going to be a little bit more active in terms of trying to sign maybe like an established player. I think they're still going for too many young kids. And I think when you look at, like, for example, Cole Palmer, right? He's having a down season, but this is only his 2nd full season while being like a main player in the first team. So I just think like they do have a very talented squad. It's just inexperienced. And I think that their board is not doing the best job of building already on what they have, because it feels like they kind of want to keep building with more young players versus getting in more established players or more clinical players that can put away these chances. Because you look at it, right? Like, Sancho's not a clinical player. Neither is Neto. Neither is Nicholas Jackson. Like, a bunch of creators, but no finishers. And then their defense is just But in terms of like back when the season first started, to say that Chelsea have a very good squad, I don't think that was a very wrong thing to say. I mean, I know people like to go extreme with it, but yeah, for me, I just think their board needs to do a little bit better in terms of
they need experience. If no one to grab a game by the scruff of the neck, or no one to tell this player what to do, tell that player what to do. They don't have an actual captain. Like, Reece James might have the armband, but he's not a captain, is he? He might lead by example in some of the things he does, but he's not going to start screaming when things go wrong. It's understudies leading understudies.
And then having an understudy manager as well that doesn't have to deal with dark times.
But I don't think that any manager in the world could get those players to finish those chances. I don't think it matters who's in that.
But imagine you went on work experience and the person that's hired you is on work experience. It's mad, no?
Yeah, but then let's say like if the person like who's on the work experience hired me to do a job that I'm just not good at, or let's say like their higher ups brought me in and now he's my manager. It's not his fault that I suck at my job. He didn't hire me.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I think there's definitely some criticism that needs to be put towards Maresca this season, but I just don't think he is accountable for the volume of chances that they've missed. I agree with David's sort of original point that he just isn't accountable. What I do think that we've all, like, I praised Chelsea's squad at the start of the season, and especially as they started going further up the league and said, look, it's looking really good. They're looking deadly. They're scoring goals. They look dangerous. Sancho started brilliantly. Jackson was scoring goals. Palmer was picking up where he left off from last year. For me, I think what we've realized is that they don't have a very good squad. They have some very good players. They have a lot of very good potential players. But when the going got tough this season, when the pressure sort of intensified, when they had that great start to the season, you saw a lot of players fold. And I think it's not a good thing for Chelsea in terms of this season. But where I do think it's a positive is I think you've learned a lot about your players. How do they handle adversity? And I heard Volkanovski say this at the weekend, and it was a great statement, which is, if you have the ability to persevere and get over adversity, he said persevere and get over adversity, it's a privilege. And that's obviously when you come out the other end. If you don't, then as a fighter, well, it's time to retire. I've had some bad fights. I'm not winning. I've gone for a great camp and I got beat again. It's time to hang the gloves up. It's painful. I think football fans can take note from that in this sport also, where you've gone through some adversity, where you've gone through some pain because players haven't performed. The pressure is intensified. They haven't delivered. I think it gives you answers. And I think too often football fans look at a football player at their peak, in their pomp, when the going's easy, like a fair weather rider. Very easy to ride a motorbike on nice roads when the sun's out. Very different when it's windy and wet. And I feel that what we've learned about some of Chelsea's players this season is they're not quite good enough when the pressure's on. So the good thing about that is you've seen some of them foul when adversity is set in. So you need to go out and buy better. That's not a dig. It's the truth. I know we do that in football now. Whenever Arsenal are questioned, I think Arsenal need a new striker. Well, they've bought 2 in the last few years, so they really shouldn't be buying another one. Someone said it about Matt in the group chat, said it about Man United when there's rumors we're going to buy a new goalie. Another goalie? Yes. Have you seen ours? We're not going to make these 2 better. You have to buy another one. So I think for me, when I look at Chelsea, they've just got to go out this summer, 4 or 5 experience. And when I say experience, I don't necessarily mean 29 years old. Players that have got a minimum 150 to 200 professional games under their belt have got to come in to help take them to that next level. They really need that, Chelsea.
Not just that, Terry. I think also they have to be born leaders as well in that. Because one thing over the last 25 years, Chelsea, like whether we're not talking about the previous years, but the last 25 years specifically, they built a sort of aura around them, an energy, and it like a level of around the Chelsea thing. And I think they've kind of, since Bowley's come in, the club's kind of losing that aura, that identity. Whereas, for example, if you see Nottingham Forest, their changing rooms after games, I believe that's the Chelsea changing room now after games. And I think that's crazy because it's all right for Nottingham Forest because they're overachieving, 3rd place, doing that sort of thing. But Chelsea think that their changing room can be like that now. But they've established themselves as a lot bigger of a club with better standards, and they need to somehow bring that aura back. So they need those older players with some leadership to kind of like, oh, you lot stop messing around, man. This is Chelsea Football Club. There needs some people in the team like that. I don't think there's anyone in there like that right now.
My only question is, I'm assuming everybody here believes that we're not going to finish in the top 4 or 5.
I can't. Yeah. That was going to be my next question. I personally, unless your performances dramatically improve, and I know people keep saying results are all that matter, but your performances are not yielding the results. Unless your performances really improve, and a couple of the teams in and around you also have a drop off, you're not making it.
My question to you now is, if Chelsea were to finish in the top 5, would the reaction be, oh, fair play, you've made it? Or would it be, you should have been here anyway, overall it's not that great?
It depends who you're asking, David.
Yeah, so I'll answer. Yeah, I'll answer it this way. You set out at the start of the season to qualify for the Champions League, and you achieved your pre-season goal. So therefore, you would look at it and say, job done. I think again, I'm not a Chelsea fan. Chelsea fans can take it with a pinch of salt. I would still have a concern about that massive wobble in the middle of the season. That would be an element of your team that I don't think you could just ignore that, because you ended up, especially if you come 5th, because the only reason 5th place has been good enough is because of how the other teams in Europe have done. So you can't rely on that every season. So I still think it's one of those things where I would say congratulations for getting it, but it wouldn't change how I think about how you need to improve next season. Does that make sense? Everything I've said about your improvements would remain exactly the same, whether you end up getting a Champions League position or not. The great thing for you guys is that your start to the season was excellent. And I would say that the likes of Villa, Newcastle and City, by their standards, had very poor starts. Again, that's not on you. That's just the nature of the maths of the situation. But yeah, I don't think much changes about my opinion of Chelsea if you end up coming in 5th place or 4th place. I still think you need to improve in the same way.
But would your opinion change if, in contrast, you were to finish 7th?
Not dramatic. I mean, no, my opinion will pretty much remain. Everything I've just said now, I think, stays the same. If, for instance, your next 6 games, you get back to that November, December form and you look brilliant, that might change things a little bit, because performances really do matter. And I think when a team is building, I think when the team is doing what Chelsea is doing, you're building. I think performances 3 years into a club rebuild are, in some degree, are more important than the results, because Chelsea are trying to get back to winning Premier League titles, and the only teams that ever win Premier League titles are teams that have consistently good performances. So I know that the results-based analysis has a part in the game, but I also think you have to keep studying the performance level. So, yeah, my opinion on Chelsea now, whether you end up coming 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th, will pretty much be the same. You need higher quality, more clinical players with better finishing. You end up coming. I think your fans will have a different view, though. I think your fans will see it differently. You know,
I do. The problem is,
David and Terry, real quick. The reason why I would praise Chelsea if they finish 4th. I'm not talking about 5th. If they finish 4th, they've massively overachieved in my expectation. I saw them 6th. So if they finish 6th, I'm not going to diss them. It's what I expected them. But if they come out and finish 4th, they've overachieved for me. And if they finish either 5th or below, that's underwhelming because you sacked a manager because of that situation. But if you are able to finish 4th, the type of run you have to put together with the teams you're playing would be impressive. Like, no one could not be impressed. I think your next games are what? Fulham away, Everton, Newcastle, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest or something. So you'd have to go on a crazy run to guarantee that. So I would be impressed if you somehow pulled off top 4 at the end of this season with the fixtures you have left.